Get ready to gain valuable insights, practical tips, and expert advice to improving your overall well-being as we discuss all things health, the holistic approach for your spirit, soul, and body. Welcome to the Health Talk Show, everyone. As you know, I always say, come on in, come on in. And you can share this broadcast with those that follow you so that they will know that the Health Talk Show is on. I'm excited about this particular show for this month of June, and it is going to be very informative, very knowledgeable. Some people may know, and some people may not know the things that is centered around salt. So you still have time to invite, you still have time to come on in. For those who are new to the Health Talk Show, welcome. And if you wanted to see any replays of the show, those shows that happened in last season, please feel free to do so with our YouTube page called The Health Talk Show. There you will find the shows from last season and shows that we did this season for you to be able to catch up on the Health Talk Show topics. One of the things that we do here is give you the opportunity to get to know a topic, get to know something about health, whether it's spiritual, emotional, or mental. We want to be able to give you some information so that you could do the rest with your research and your knowledge. Again, this show is not replacing any professional physician in your life, but it's here to give you some insights into things that you can do to add some health in your life. So I am so glad to be with you on this day to talk about salt. You may have seen some of the flyers that was posted about salt and what we're going to discuss. And yes, we're going to talk about salt. We're going to talk about how some people may deem it as very bad, but I want to be able to share with you some insights into what you may not know about salt. So come on in, come on in. You still have time to share this broadcast. So I wanted to be able to bring some light into this topic that some people may not know too much about, or some may know about this topic and and is here with me to say what is new about salt. So I want to be able to bring my notes in here. So I want to be able to give you some knowledge about salt. A little bit about me is that I've been in the healthcare system for over 7 years in different capacities, and just my own personal life of research and understanding about what I want to be able to give my own body. And so I want to be able to share with you some information that you can grab onto. And I'm hoping that this show will give you a spark in your life to be able to say, you know what, I can change. You know what, I can do a little bit better. So here's the first question. Does our body need salt? Yes, our body does need salt. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about salt. Salt contains sodium. It's a mineral. Sodium is an electrolyte. It's an essential mineral for the body. So, right here, there is a definition about salt. Salt is sodium, or I should say, salt contains sodium, and it's a mineral. So, this is something that sodium, the word salt is used interchangeably, but I don't know if anybody knew it was a extra light. So let's continue on and let's move forward. So, why does our body need it? Why does our body need salt? Okay. It is because salt helps our body maintain fluid balance. It helps support our nerve function. It helps our muscles contract, which includes the heart. It helps to regulate blood pressure. It prevents dehydration. It helps support brain communication with the body. These are important things. So, salt is important and needed in our body because of the things that I just said. Electrolytes was the word that I had said previously that I may not have said uh, accurately. So, let's go to the first question. How can you tell when your body needs salt? All right. So, some of these things that I want to discuss may not be only that you need the electrolytes from the salt or sodium, but it's also good to point out that when our bodies react this way, it could be that possibility that you need it. One of the things that happens to our bodies is headaches. Headaches let you know that your sodium level has dropped, especially if you've been sweating or drinking a lot of plain water without electrolytes. And so, because it's a mineral, because it's something that strives in our body, if we don't have that electrolyte or sodium in our body, a headache can occur. So let's talk about sweat because I think that some people may forget what happens when we sweat. So, when our bodies heat up during exercise or an intense activity, you sweat to cool down. That sweat is made up of, guess what? Water and electrolytes. So God created our bodies so special, so great that it functions in a way where it helps to fight things in our favor, right? It helps us to push things out. All right. And so when we sweat, when our bodies get heated up, what comes out, perspiration, as they say, like, oh my God, you're sweating, you're perspiring. Have you ever heard of that? Well, it's water and electrolytes coming out of the pores. So when you lose too much through sweating, it can lead to dehydration or electrolyte imbalance. Am I helping somebody right now? Because I feel like there's people out there that may just feel as if that's what happens when when I exercise. That's what happens when I power walk. That's what happens when I walk a lot. That's what happens when I do this and that. Is when I move furniture or whatever is I sweat. But it's more than just the pores of water coming out. So, another way that our body can let us know that we uh, don't have a lot of electrolytes in it is extreme thirst. If you drink water but still feel thirsty, your body may be struggling to retain that water because it lacks the sodium to hold on onto the fluids in our cells. So I know I've experienced that. And maybe you have two. I can drink water and I can drink other juices, but I'm just feeling thirsty still. And it could be because I need some electrolytes in me. All right. Another a sign that our body sometimes give us is muscle cramps, spasms. If you are an athlete, okay, this is like a classic sign for you if your muscles are twitching or cramping, whether it's during or after an exercise. You have likely lost more salt through your sweat than you have replaced. And that is why athletes like basketball players, as an example, you see them drinking the Gatorade because guess what's in Gatorade? Electrolytes. So you don't want a player or an athlete doing their best in their activity and then all of a sudden cramp up, right? So it's important that we do the same when we are exercising and doing some things, okay? Now, listen here. Sometimes we can label ourselves incorrectly because we have a headache, because we have a muscle cramp. One of the first things we may say is, "Oh, I'm getting old. I'm older now. I'm this, I'm that." You're labeling yourself on something that you don't even have to. You know, there's power in the tongue. There's death and life in the power of the tongue. So I just want to help somebody here because sometimes when we don't feel our best, we'll say to ourselves, "Oh, it's just the old age in me. I'm getting to that age," or you begin to just talk negative about yourself when only really you may just need electrolytes in your body. So I want to encourage somebody right here that stop talking negative when something happens in your body that may have happened before or maybe not. There may be some things that your body is lacking that may need to be in your body so that you can move forward. So I just want to be able to encourage somebody in that way. So let's talk about salt some more. Um, the other thing that our body loses is potassium. So that is why it's important to have some type of electrolyte because I'll share with you a little bit more about the potassium part of it. But like I mentioned before, and I'll add one more, two things in here is without enough sodium, we can be fatigued, muscle cramps. We can even have some kind of confusion, some dizziness, some weakness, and oftentimes severe dehydration. Let me give you a fun fact. If you are looking to replenish yourself and you don't like Gatorade and you're looking for something else as a alternative, then I got you. Did you know that coconut water is a source that you can get electrolytes from? Yes. And coconut water not only have electrolytes, but it also has potassium as well. Stores going to whatever grocery store that you go to, you can pick up electrolyte power packs, like powder packs, where you can put it in your plain water. So, that is something that you can do. Um, and so that helps. Also, um, if you need a name of a powder pack, Pedialyte is one that is popular or known. So you can, research it, for yourself. If you feel as if you drink a lot of water, but you still feel thirsty and you're one that, maybe don't have a lot of salt in your life, you may want to start that as well. Again, this is something that you could talk to your doctor about as well. Um, to see if that would help you in your health. So here's the thing I want to say is the issue is usually not salt itself. It's the amount and it's the type of salt. Now, some people may say the type of salt, I didn't even know there was different types of salts. And so it is. I know if I know me. I grew up in an era where it was one type of salt in my house. And that was the salt where the little girl is looking like she's stepping on puddles and she has an umbrella in her hand. The iodinized salt, right? That's the only one I knew. In Morton, I think it's called. Somebody can put that in the chat. That's the only salt that I knew growing up as a kid, growing up as a teenager and a young adult. And when I um got as an adult, got my own place, guess what I got? The same salt that I grew up with. But did you know that there are more salts out there? And there is, did you know, healthy salts out there? So I want to be able to give you some names of some salt. Now I did some research and they did some rankings on salts that are healthy, right? And so I want to be able to give you a snippet of what I found. So I want to put on a screen this salt name. Okay, so I wanted to put this on the screen because this particular salt, as I did my research, is one of the highest and natural electrolytes that you can have when it comes to salt. This salt includes magnesium and potassium, and it also has a low sodium percentage. And so I want to be able, and it originated from Mexico. Okay. So with that being said, the type of salt that you add to your foods is important because you want to know what am I adding to my food and then eventually my food being added to me because we need salt to have a balance in our life, but we also want some kind of nutrient, right, to be put in our body. So that was one of them. The other one is Himalayan pink salt. So this was the second one. They have different rankings out there. They have Himalayan salt as number two, but then I also saw Celtic sea salt as number two in another ranking as well. But Himalayan salt is mined, okay, from the ancient salt deposits in Pakistan, okay? And it gets its pink rosy color from about 84 minerals, including potassium, calcium, and iron. Okay, so there's a benefit there. So I don't know if anybody have seen that, but Himalayan salt is one of the healthier salts. Celtic sea salt is another one, and it's harvested off of the coast of France. So it has the electrolytes in there. It's less refined than table salt, and I'm talking about the Celtic one. Going back to the Himalayan salt, it's less processed, okay? And it often contains fewer additives. And then you have the other sea salts, the natural sea salts that, people, you see around here and there. There's another one called Black Hawaiian salt. It's known for having charcoal benefits within it. So these are just a few that I pulled to give you an idea and insight on the different types of salts that's out there. Okay, so I just want to let you know. And so, where can you find these salts? Somebody may ask. Well, Amazon, Sprouts, Whole Foods. I think it's a time for everybody or anybody to go and hunt your seasonings. It's a great thing to go to a store you may not have been to before, or you've been to before so many times, but you never thought to go to the seasoning area. Um, Especially talking about salt, you'll be surprised what you see in the grocery store. And you can read up on the different salts that you may need for your life, especially if you're looking for something healthier, something that is alternative. So I just want to let you know that. And let me give you this key point. Healthy things used without wisdom still can become harmful, because even though I um, gave you a list of um, healthy salts, does not mean you go crazy on it. It's not about going crazy. It's not about going berserk, right? It's about balance in everything that we do. And so having a little salt in your food, a little bit from these healthy alternatives will can make a difference. And I personally, or we personally in our household love Mrs. Dash because Mrs. Dash doesn't have no salt in it at all, but it has other nutrients in it that can help our bodies. And that's what it's all about. What can help my body be strong and maintain its health as I go on? And this show is not just for people who are older. This is for young adults. This is for kids. Think about it. Kids these days in public schools and maybe other charter schools, I don't know, have foods that may or may not be traced with how much salt is in it unless it's a packaged type of food. And we can't educate our young people about the importance of salt, about the importance of looking out for ourselves at that age, because it starts when we're young. It starts when we grow. Our bodies then becomes a sponge, so to speak, of getting this, whether it's inflammation or getting things like food in us, and it can change the way we look at life and food itself. We can start young. Somebody put that in the comments. We can start young. It's never too late to start, your children in learning the difference between this and that when it comes to salt and things that is healthy for them. So let's talk about myths, because we want to break some myths out there when it comes to salt. So one of the myths of salt is all salt is bad. Well, let's tell a truth about that and break this myth. The body actually needs sodium to survive. And so we can take that myth and knock it out the park. Myth two that I sometimes hear is sea salt has no sodium. Sea salt still contains sodium, and it should be used moderately, just like the other salts that I mentioned. Another myth is if I don't use the salt shaker, I'm eating low sodium. So some people feel like I don't use salt anyway. I barely use salt. I'm fine. I'm good. You're really not, unless you know where to look. But most sodium comes from packaged, processed, restaurant, takeout foods. And so you don't use necessarily um, a shaker. So I want to be able to um, give you some insight about, where food can get its salt. When we go to the grocery store and we, get certain things, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself right now. Let me back up for going back to some more myths, but I just want to let you know that not using the salt shaker at home, salt shaker, doesn't mean that you're not consuming salt um, at all. All right. So, myth number 4, pink salt can be used endlessly because it's healthy. No, healthy salt is still salt, as I mentioned before. Myth number 5, only older adults need to watch sodium, and that is not the case. High sodium affect all ages. That's just not the case at all. There's been different stories out there that young people, before they even get teenagers, have issues when it comes to their body pertaining to salt. So it's important for all ages. Now, let's talk some more about salt. Let's expose hidden salts, okay? And I hope I'm not going too fast for you, those that's in listening to this live, or once this is done, you can always check out the replay. I want to go over and expose where salt can be hidden, where you may not know to look out for salt in certain foods that I'm about to say. Why? Because they don't taste salty. They don't have necessarily flavor, but salt is in them. For example, bread, rolls, tortillas are some of the biggest contributors of high sodium because we eat them so often, even though it doesn't taste salty. So, just want to give you that. That's where salt can be hidden. And I'll share with you later how you could be a detective, how you can be a advocate for yourself to find out a little bit more about that roll, to find out a little bit about that bread, okay? Toothpaste. What? Toothpaste is sometimes where, if your toothpaste contains baking soda, salt is in baking soda. So you want to be able to watch out for that. Over the counter medications like AccuSeltzer is one that has sodium in it. So you want to look out for that. Olives. Now, olives, taste already salty, so that may not have been something hidden for somebody out there, but I just wanted to give you that as something to think about. Many raw chickens in the grocery store, listen to this, are injected with a saline solution to make them look juicier and at times to keep them moist, such as rotisserie chicken and pre packed chicken strips are often injected with this salt base to keep them moist. So we got to be careful about that because we could go to the store and we could just mind our own business and we wonder what we're going to have and you don't want to cook. And so you pick up this rotisserie chicken. Just know that there is salt in there. And if you turn that chicken around, there's a label on there, which we'll get into later. Granola bars, those healthy nutritional bars, they have hidden salt in there as well. Brand cereals have a level of sodium in it as well. Ice cream also has salt in it as well. So it's hidden because ice cream is sweet, right? And some desserts as well. So let me just say, advertisers, and I've been in advertisement for a long time myself. That's one of the industries that I was in the marketplace. But when advertisers, advertise their food, they're not going to say anything about salt. They're not going to say anything about sodium. They're not going to do that. They're going to make the item look fun and cool. They're going to make it look like you got to have it. They're going to make it look like you got to eat it now. Oh, I got to run to the store to get it. Oh, it's going to be advertised to attract you to buy it, to get it, whether it's soda, whether it's some kind of dessert, whether it's some kind of condiment, which is ketchup. Okay. I seen that one commercial with ketchup and they had the music playing in the background and was going, and they turned the bottle over so slow for it to come out. So you can imagine your food with the ketchup. Ketchup is also another thing that salt is hidden in. Okay. Sauces like soy sauce, barbecue sauce, pasta sauce, all these things. And so when they advertise it to you, they're not telling you the risk in that. They're not telling you what is bad in that. They want you to buy it. But as a consumer, we will be wise with knowing what and how much salt we have in our body, which I'll share that with you a few moments from now, because we want to be wise about our health. It's not that we shouldn't have it, but the moderation of it is the key. And if we got to a certain point in our daily intake, then it's a matter of should I eat it or not? And that's the challenge that I will challenge you with before the end of this broadcast. So, going to the serving side of things, I want to share with you how you can be an expert, right? When it comes to the intake of things, when we go to the grocery store, when we buy things in the grocery store, have we ever looked at the label in the back of it? And if we have, do we even know what it means? There's no education, right, on how to read it, how to count how much salt is in a thing because it's not in schools. Is it in schools? I don't know. When I was growing up, I don't remember a course in regards to how you can look at the back of a label of a food to see how much sugar or salt, sorry, is in that item. But I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you on today. So always check the serving size. For example, a bag of chips might say 150 milligrams of sodium is in this bag of chips. But if the bag contains 4 servings, then that means if you eat the whole bag of chips, that's a total of 600 milligrams of sodium that you just ate. And so how is because you times 4 by 150 of the milligrams. And that brings me to what I discovered. What I discovered with American Heart Association is that our daily intake of salt should be 2,300 milligrams a day. And that's for adults and young people. If somebody is dealing with, diabetes, hypertension, something that has to do with their heart, maybe you had a stroke or anything that had to do with, your health, then the number is 1,500. But that right there is some type of empowerment for somebody because if you never knew what is the daily intake of salt, now you know. And we unfortunately can go over 2,300 easily. Why do I say that? Because one slice, for instance, of bacon, whether it's pork or turkey or beef, look at the back of the label of your meat. And one slice could be 300 milligrams. So if you have 4, do the math. Let's take out the calculator. 300 times 4 is 1,200. So you're like close to halfway done on your daily intake of salt, and you had 4 slices of bacon, and that's just one part of breakfast. We haven't talked about eggs. We haven't talked about the juice. We haven't talked about other things that you add to your breakfast, like a muffin or a pancake. So, knowledge is power. So, when you know that you want to be able to have 2,300 milligrams daily in your intake of salt to keep you constant, then you will choose differently about how much you want to consume. Why? I'm going to share with you why. I'm going to share with you why you want to have an understanding of what happens in your body if your body has too much salt in it. Listen to this. This is a fact. Salt pulls water. Too much sodium can cause the body to hold excess fluid, making the heart and the kidney work harder. So your body is working overtime to try to balance the electrolytes, to try to balance everything. But are we helping our body or are we hindering our body? Listen to this. In other words, salt acts like a magnet for water when you eat too much salt. It fills your blood with extra salt. So your body pulls in more water to help balance it out. Listen to this. Our body pulls water from our cells and our tissues into our bloodstream to dilute the sodium. So our body is just to work it. It's helping you not to get to a stage where you cannot help yourself anymore, but it needs your help. Type in the comments. Our bodies need our help. Listen to this. This is why you often feel thirsty. After eating a salty meal, your body is signaling you to bring in more water to help restore the balance. All right, last paragraph I want you to hear. When your body keeps that extra water in your bloodstream to dilute the sodium, your total blood value increases. This is sometimes considered extra fluid. So you may have heard, people say water retention, my body held in water. And so this is where it's coming from because the body doesn't know how to release it at times. It accumulates, it's moving too fast. And with us, as us having this body, we added more salt, more sodium, more electrolytes than we needed. And our bodies are trying to add water to be able to flush it out. But at times it accumulates and it stays in our body. So that is why sometimes we get the swelling of the hands, the swelling of the feet and legs, and different things of that nature. We're wondering what's happening, what's going on. So it's funny how salt can help you when you don't have enough of it, right? Because you get that muscle cramping. But then if we have too much of it, we get swole, because our body's like, I don't know where to put it. So just want to give you the why we want to balance with our salt in our bodies, because our bodies, as you can see, does a couple of things. If we don't have enough, it's headaches and muscle cramps, and I have dehydration. And if I have too much, it's swelling, and it is making my kidneys and my heart work faster, work more because it's trying to pump it out. Oh my gosh. Can we help our bodies today to be able to be balanced? Because our bodies are like, what's really going on? And so when we know this fact, we'll be we'll be caution. We'll be cautious about, should I have two bacons? Should I have three? Should I have none? If you really want to do something for your body, for yourself, I challenge you to make this challenge of first reading the label and looking at the count of sodium in that product. Second, look at the challenge of, can I really make it to 2,300 or less of a daily intake of sodium when I buy the food? Now, of course, you sit down to a restaurant, you don't know how much salt they put in the food. Or if you go and buy takeout, you don't know how much salt is in the food. Oftentimes, fast food restaurants, believe it or not, have incorporated the label, the nutritional facts that's in, on the packages. They now some of them are required to put that on their website so that you'll know how much is a small fry, how much sodium is in that, how much medium, and et cetera, et cetera. So, we've now, there's things out here now that gives us that education of how much we put it in our bodies. Because if we don't know, we just don't know. Some people don't know. They didn't know that an egg has sodium in it. Grits have sodium in it. All these things they have for breakfast, and that's just breakfast. A person can actually get to 2,300 milligrams in just breakfast, and they didn't even have lunch or dinner. So it's just important for you to know why, because our bodies need our help. And I'm almost done. Um, I do want to say, um, how can how to remove excess salt from our bodies the healthy way? Well, besides water, eating foods that are high in potassium and high in magnesium can help. Foods like bananas, spinach, avocado, um, sweet potatoes, etc. Because potassium helps balance sodium in our bodies. Exercise, sweat. Remember I said that sweat. So when you do that workout, sweat, sweat, sweat. Come on now, sweat, sweat, sweat. And when we read labels, look out for things that says MSG, brine, sodium, preservatives. Those words are ways of saying that there's salt in them. And so I want to mention this. And the way that you can find out something quick, if you pick up an item instead of doing math, some people may not be good in math, like times 4 and times 3, is look at the daily value DV. So 5% is considered low sodium. So if you pick up an item and you see that this whole item contains 5% DV, that means daily value, that's considered a low sodium item. Where if you see 20% of DV or daily value, that is considered a high sodium item where you want to take precautions in buying it. Because sometimes in the back of the food or item, they may not break it out where it's the milligrams, but they may show you this is 20% DV. That means that it's going to be a higher content of sodium in that item. So I hope I have been helping someone out there to just be cautious about how much salt they put in their body. Or if you don't have enough, well, it's time to bring a little bit into your life, because this is supposed to help you, get on this health journey to be able to save you some headache and save you some trips to the doctor, perhaps as we get older. So that is all that I have at this time. But the challenge is, I challenge you, somebody out there, will you take the challenge and inbox us if you took the challenge? Whether you take the challenge of being intentional about reading the back of a label of anything that you buy to see how much sodium is actually in that product, or the challenge of, I'm going to try to see if I can actually have food less than 2,300 milligrams a day, whether you try it for breakfast, whether you try it for dinner or lunch. If you choose any of the challenges that I mentioned, then hit us up, inbox us, let us know, hey, I took that challenge and I just realized that I did X, Y, and Z. Or if I never, read the back of the label of an item I brought and I finally did, tell us about it. Or if you never really understood um, how to calculate a label, let us know. Inbox us. We're here to be able to assist you in this challenge. But But that's all I have for today in regards to salt. And as always, if you have questions about this show or if you have a topic you think you want to hear about, then we have our email address, which I'm going to drop in the comments right now, that you can email us at this email address, where we can be able to answer you about questions that you may have, whether this show or the other shows, or if you just say, inbox me on this channel that I'm on, whether it's Facebook or wherever. We are here to be able to answer questions, or if you have a topic that you're interested in, feel free to hit us up on that. Well, my time is up right now, but I'm so glad that you took the time out of your busy schedule to come and hang with us on this particular day. So stay tuned, be connected for our another show that we'll have coming up next month. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in with the show, the Health Talk Show, and Let's Talk About Salt. I'm hoping that you got and gained some knowledge in regards to salt. Have a good evening. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon, whatever time you are listening to this show.